How's it going, everybody? I'm the BTC Reaper, and my goal on this channel is to teach you how to reap the rewards of trading when the price is going up or down. Binance refutes SEC's claims about mishandling user funds. So Binance US is saying, hey, we have not mishandled any US funds, and they pointed to a court case where the SEC was asked by the court if they had any proof that funds were being commingled, and the SEC replied, we're not seeing any flows outside of the US. So they're not seeing any money go outside the US. So there is no proof that money is leaving from Binance US to Binance. The conversation related to the SEC's request placed an immediate freeze on the Binance US assets earlier this month. So because of this, they were forced to freeze their assets, and it was wrongfully so. So hopefully this helps their case. However, they still have the case against this supposed securities. But now they're at least on somewhat even ground as Coinbase. A new Bitcoin mining giant prepares to enter the fray. So Hut 8 and US Bitcoin Corp are going to merge into Hut 8 Corp. They'll have a market capitalization of $999 million, and shareholders will get equal ownership of the company's stock. So two smaller companies are joining to make a pretty decent sized one. Its new hash rate is 7.5% with the two companies combined, and this is going to be one of the bigger companies in the US, behind Marathon Digital, who has 23 exahashes per second, and Riot Blockchain, who has 10.5. Three Arrows Capital is trying to revive themselves, so not good. Open Exchange, the exchange I've been warning heavily against and has no real licensing, has revealed a new partner, and that's someone using the Three Arrows Capital licensing and similar name. They're called 3AC Ventures. They have a similar landing page, and they're stating that they're focused on superior risk-adjusted returns without leverage. So why that's important is 3AC used leverage, and that's mainly what was attributed to them going under. But if they went under, I don't know if I'd really trust them to manage my money again, so I wouldn't touch this with a 10-foot pole. Now, over on the daily, we are getting a little bit of a pullback, but we'll get back into that later. We are kind of doing a little bit of a pullback on our total as well. Stochastic's starting to bend, RSI's starting to head down, our VWAP's starting to curl, money flow's still pretty flat. Our momentum's starting to curl still, so momentum looks like we could start to come out if we don't put in some more green candles here. Over on the 4 hour, we are falling with our stochastic, RSI's falling, momentum's coming down, money flow's pointing down, VWAP's heading down. So total market cap not looking too good. RSI's coming down, stochastic's oversold, pretty beat down, almost completely beat down. Money flow's coming out, VWAP's heading down, so we are getting higher lows on the VWAP, so that's alright, but we'll have to see if we curl up and actually confirm a higher low or not. Finally, on the 1 hour, RSI is coming down, stochastic's coming down, money flow's starting to come down, our VWAP still coming down, went bullish and kind of just fell flat, and our momentum is coming down with a red dot that did confirm. For our Bitcoin dominance, we are pretty indecisive, got a little bit of a more pump. Stochastic looks like we could get a bearish cross, RSI is starting to bend, momentum's starting to bend, money flow is struggling to get higher, our VWAP is starting to head down, so the Bitcoin dominance looks like it may start to cool off. Over on the 4 hour, we are attempting to curl up with this momentum, so we are trying to push away from bearish momentum. We'll have to see if we can actually set in a new high, or if this candle starts to set in lower highs. Our RSI is setting lower highs and looking kind of weak. Our stochastic looks like we could get a bearish cross, but our VWAP wants to break bullish. And our money flow is trying to keep a consistent high at 30%. We'll have to see if it can actually keep going higher, or if it kind of just pulls back from here. Last time we're right around here. Let's see, way back here we're at 24. We did get a little bit of a slide the one time, and then another slide after. Not suggesting we are bound to slide, but it could happen. We'll go on Bitcoin dominance. If you want to see more on these, just like I said, say something in the comments and I'll start going over those, or if you want to see other coins. But we are starting to set a red candle on our futures, so that indicates that Bitcoin might start to slide. Stochastic's starting to point down, RSI's starting to curl down, VWAP's starting to point down. Momentum looks like it's going to round out. Money flow's rejecting kind of sharply away from that neutral zone, so we could set up some more downside and break even lower. We are way above this volume profile that we had before. In the last few times we were above here, we did come down and touch it. So you could make a new volume profile and call this a new range, especially with this back here. But overall, we pretty much just filled these gaps that we've made, and we could come back down. The CME futures closes on Friday, so we'll have to see if they close here. We also could get this gap, this run up to the 35K, and see this gap fill as well. And if we do that, then we would set a new high, and that would possibly give us an up channel, which everyone's all excited about, but up channels are bearish patterns, so I'm not too excited if we get to there, because ultimately I think that would make us fall. So over on the 4 hour, if you want to take a peek, our stochastic's falling, RSI's falling, momentum's falling, money flow's starting to come out, VWAP's starting to reject away even more from the neutral, so 4 hours not looking too bullish. 2 hour momentum's coming down rather sharply, RSI's coming down pretty aggressively, stochastic's heading down, VWAP projected crossing bullish, money flow's starting to round out. Finally, on the 1 hour, we have a red dot on our momentum, so it's going to fold back over. That VWAP's coming under. Stochastic has a bearish cross. RSI's falling. Our money flow is trying to stay around a 30, but is overall pointing down. So if we break this like 26 area, we may on the hour we may see further downside. Over on Bitcoin for the daily, we have that little bit of an indecision candle printing today. We are above our volume profile here, so we are above the value area high, so we did touch on it. If we don't start setting green candles from here, then it's very likely we could reject from this higher volume area and come below this value area high toward the point of control that we have right here, which would be around the middle of our golden pocket. At which point, if we broke that, then we would start to slide to our value area low. And then if we broke that, we could test our lower targets that we see on our futures. Stochastic looks like it wants to get bearish cross and start to fall. RSI is kind of flattening out. It was starting to curl earlier, got a red dot on it that did confirm, even with that bullish candle, with that green dot, so kind of conflicting there. Money flow struggling to go anywhere, VWAP's starting to come down, momentum's starting to curl out, so overall I'd say the daily looks a little exhausted to me. On the RSI, we are starting to point down, stochastic's starting to point down, momentum's starting to come down, our momentum wave is starting to curl out, so if we break down below this 20, we could set a new low and see further downside. Our VWAP is in the bearish territory. We are trying to curl back up, but we're not really having much success. So if we don't curl back up and break through, we may see other things start to slide with it. Over on the 2 hour, RSI is sliding pretty hard. Stochastic's pretty beat down. Money flow is starting to round out. Our momentum is coming down. VWAP is heading down and in the bearish zone. So overall, I'd say we're a little more bearish leaning on the 2 hour than we are bullish. The only little bit of hope would be this could be a bull flag that could help break us up. If you count this little channel here, it wouldn't really break us too high. We could get like a scam wick through this resistance and then maybe fall back through. We'll kind of have to evaluate. Our RSI is heading down on the 1 hour. Stochastic's coming down. Money flow's coming down. Momentum is in the bearish territory. VWAP's in the bearish territory. So I'd say on the 1 hour, we're more bearish than bullish. We have a manipulation X here that didn't really do much back there, but usually when you see a second set, you get more action. If we take a peek on the 30-minute, don't always do this, but this is something you can watch. Our money flow is testing this neutral line, so if we break through that neutral, then we would have bearish momentum. Sometimes when the 30-minute crosses in the bearish zone, you'll see some pretty strong movements. I'll show an example, but again, I wouldn't trade all the time off of this. Use it just as a point of confluence. Like back here, we broke bearish, but we didn't go anywhere. Let's see, last breakdown from run up. We had some green here, some red here. So when we started to break into the bearish territory, that's when we overall started to slide over the next. Gotta remember, these are 30-minute candles, so this is 11 o'clock, and this is 4 o'clock, Saturday and Wednesday, so a few days still. But over the span of a few days of being in the red, we did drop quite a bit. So just keep that in mind. Over on graph, on the daily, we are getting a little bit of a red candle here, so we are starting to pull back from our triangle. We did get like the exact move right there. It's like to the wick. So if you got out and got that full move, good for you. Stochastic starting to bend over, RSI is starting to fall, VWAP is starting to flatten out, our money flow is in the bearish territory, our momentum's starting to curl over. So even though we got this bullish breakout, it may not be all like hope and cheer, we may start to fall from here. However, we may create a small cup and handle that could help save us. So keep that in mind as well. Over on the 4 hour, stochastic is falling, RSI is falling, our momentum is crashing, our money flow is bending out, VWAP is getting lower lows and starting to curl down. So the 4 hour, we're leaning more bearish and looking like we could set up to come back and test this channel. So just be weary of that. Over on the 2 hour, our RSI is falling down, momentum is about to break into the bearish territory, RSI, or stochastic rather, is breaking down pretty bad. Doesn't have very much strength left. VWAP is heading down and in the bearish territory. So overall, we're very bearish leaning here. We have a manipulation X that is bringing us down. So if we kind of break this little channel right here, you can see further downside, this is a little bit of a descending triangle we have here, so that could help push us lower. Over on the 1 hour, our stochastic looks like it wants to break up, so that could help push us away from that bearish possibility, but our RSI is overall still sliding, momentum still sliding, VWAP is coming out very strongly, and our money flow is struggling to get any higher, so if we don't get more money in, we're going to struggle to go anywhere. Over on Anchor, on the daily, we are starting to pull away here as well, so we were trying to inch toward this value area low. Our RSI is starting to point down, stochastic starting to bend, our VWAP is starting to come down, money flow is starting to curl, so just watch out if it makes a full curl down. Our momentum wants to come up, but the way everything else is looking, we could see that start to curl. Over on the 4 hour, our stochastic looks like it wants to get a little bit of a bend up, so we'll have to see if that can happen or if it continues to just crash down. But our RSI is coming down, stochastic is about to break through that neutral zone, so if it breaks through, we would give the strength to the bears. Our stochastic, RSI is coming down, talked about the stochastic, sorry, momentum's coming down, money flow is starting to get lower highs, starting to head down, so not very strong. VWAP is getting slightly lower lows, trying to somewhat flash curl out if you see that kind of wicking around. So we could see that VWAP start to give up some strength here, which would mean our medium term would start to cool off. On the 2 hour, our RSI is starting to cool off, momentum is starting to come down, our VWAP is getting slightly higher highs and higher lows, so we are trying to keep going up. But overall, it looks like we're starting to struggle around this 24 zone. Our stochastic's pretty oversold, so our stochastic has no strength. VWAP's starting to fold back over after trying to get a higher low. Our momentum is in the bearish territory. 1 hour, our RSI is starting to fall, stochastic is starting to fall, our money flow is rounding out and making lower highs and lower lows. So our money flow is not looking the strongest, VWAP rejected a bullish cross, and our momentum is starting to curl away and head lower. So overall, we're more bearish leaning than bullish. Over on XRP, we tried to wick out both ways of this channel that we had. RSI is starting to curl, stochastic starting to curl, our VWAP wants to run up, money flow struggling to go anywhere. And our momentum is trying to push higher, but it looks like we could start to round out here if we're not careful. Over on the 4 hour, stochastic is starting to get a little bit of a bend, so we might get a little bit of a bullish cross. We'll have to see if that happens. We are right around that neutral zone, so this will be a pivotal spot. RSI is starting to head down, momentum is heading down, our money flow is starting to head down. We're getting slightly lower highs here, so overall not too strong. VWAP is pretty flat, so we've little indecision, but I'd say we're a little more bearish leaning with a hope of bullishness. Our money flow on the 2 hour overall is rounding out. RSI is coming down, kind of zigzagging in this range right now though. Stochastic is struggling to go anywhere. Our momentum is in the bearish territory, but it looks like it could try to curl up. Our VWAP was sharply coming up, but now it's starting to flatten out. So if that VWAP starts to reject away, that momentum is likely to follow. Over on the 1 hour, our RSI is trying to head back up, but overall making lower highs. RSI stochastic is starting to get bearish cross and fall, so that the RSI is not going to have much strength, especially since we're falling right around that neutral and about to give the strength to the bears. Our money flow wants to head up, trying to get a higher high here, but if it's not able to keep pushing, then it's likely the bears are going to get control. Our momentum wave has a confirmed red dot that is bringing us down slightly, so that could help bring us lower, so just watch out for that. Over on Algo for the daily, last but not least, a little bit of an indecision candle. Stochastic's about to make a bearish cross, RSI is about to curl, VWAP is pretty flat, money flow is pretty flat, momentum looks like it could start to curl out here. So overall, I'd say we're more bearish leaning than bullish and not looking the strongest. We do have this pretty much up channel, so an up channel is a descending channel. Our pattern that'll break us down. Stochastic is starting to get a bearish ride down pretty violently. RSI is heading down. Momentum's coming down. Our money flow was trying to get higher highs and now coming down. VWAP's in the bearish territory, could start to head down even lower, so keep an eye on that. Over on the 2 hour, our stochastic is heading toward the neutral zone on our, for our other indicators. And neutral zone is pretty much maximum oversold for the stochastic. RSI is heading down, VWAP's heading down, money flow is starting to curl out, momentum's coming down. So overall, we're pretty bearish looking. We have a manipulation X here that could bring us down, so just be mindful. Our RSI is overall sliding, stochastic's starting to head down, our VWAP's starting to head down, momentum's starting to come down with a red dot that did confirm a little while ago that could help push us lower. So, like I said before, if we lose this range, we could see lower targets, but if we just flag here, that would be good. But this kind of looks more like a descending triangle, which could push us lower, so be mindful of that as well. Thank you for watching tonight's video. I hope you have a wonderful night.